Yes, so I'm from Between the Lines, representing sort of the serious trade side of things, and actually we have some affinity sort of in the size of our presses and around the relative age of our presses as well. So Between the Lines does what we call serious nonfiction, with a focus on issues in social justice, equity, anti-racism, gender studies and feminism, politics in Canadian society. And the press was established in 1977, so last fall we had our 30th birthday party. And we operate a little differently from most trade presses in Canada in that we're run as a working collective. So our structure is a bit smaller than what Lisa talked about. We have 4 core office staff members, and each of us has a very distinct role, an extended staff of an additional 4 players, and then we have sort of a satellite editorial committee who are community and volunteer members who come from a wide breadth of backgrounds and expertise and disciplines, and they help us assess our manuscripts and our proposals for fit and marketability and general sort of editorial significance for the press. And that committee tends to convene sort of every 8 weeks and so on. So I'll get to our process a bit later. The titles that we publish sort of straddle academia and the trade, but they're notably trade books in general. And it really depends title by title what the focus is, if it's more geared towards a course adoption or something that you find predominantly in a bookstore or in an online resource. We do have some titles that have historically been quite strong course sellers for us. We have a book called Getting Started, which is a book on social policy analysis, which has done very well, and Case Critical, which is on social work, and it's in its 5th edition. It's a long time favorite and sort of a very core book for us. We publish about 10 to 14 titles a year, about 5 or 6 a season, and for the most part our authors are Canadian, although we do co-publish some non-Canadian authors, and we do work with US and UK publishers to both sell and buy rights, so we do have some co-publishing agreements and arrangements. And we have US distribution through a company called SCB, and global European distribution through a company in the UK. So the publishing environment for us and for everyone is markedly different than it was when we were nascent back in 1977. We've had to adapt some of our strategies, but I think in going forward and looking forward, the publishing mandate for us is still largely the same, to continue what we've been doing in publishing critical books that are appropriate for both trade and academic audiences. Certainly for us, it continues to be very much a priority to find books that are of strong course potential, so that's something that we're looking towards. And actually at the moment we have a quite new acquisitions editor who unfortunately can't be here to present today, but who has a very keen interest in sort of exploring new directions with new scholars in growing fields, areas such as critical studies, race, gender, geography. We have a number of titles that sort of are going in that direction, and we'd certainly be looking at more of those. And then in terms of our positioning sort of more on the trade side of things, I think it's a bit of an editorial aim and mandate to offer titles for thinking people. I think one of the things that we as a group in our office are sort of committed to is the idea of the public intellectual and putting authors and ideas into the world that might have academic origins but can be sort of applicable and accessible, I guess, by a slightly wider audience. Cornel West, Noam Chomsky, who is on our list, and Jim Latzer are just a few of the sort of people that I think have that ability to straddle sort of both markets. So that's kind of a quick introduction to our press and to our structure, and I'm just going to turn it back over to Lisa for a bit more specific about her publishing process.